Hi guys, welcome to another Pico 12 Productions. I'm Paul and this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1, the 3G model, so the P7500. As you can see right here, I've spent enough time with this to really give a proper review. So let's open her up and here it is. So we're going to go through multiple stages of the review on this one. So basically how it performs in general, the pros, the cons, and basically your own preference on whether you should actually get this type of device or not. Whether it's for you or not, it's up to you. These cost in Australia about the same price as an iPad 2, so you really have to make a decision where you want to actually be with an Android or with an iOS product. It really depends on what you actually run at home. Nonetheless, this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1. Let's get into it. Okay, guys. Alright, okay, so here is pretty much the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1. So, in general, at first glance, as you can see, the speed sheer, this is on 3.2 of Honeycomb. Now, this is the 3G model, so that it doesn't actually come stock with 3.1, and you can't actually upgrade to 3.2. The actual stock ROM with Samsung's TouchWiz software on it is very, very sluggish. So you won't get this type of speed running on standard 3.1. 3.2 is actually quite quick and actually really nice in terms of Honeycomb. But when you're looking at, this is, by the way, this is a rooted device in terms, it's actually not, it's very customized. It's like jailbreaking on an iOS device. To get the full potential out of an Android device, you have to root it. If you don't, you're just pretty much going to have a very sluggish and locked device in a lot of ways. Very much like the iPad 2 in a lot of ways, or iPhones in that manner. So with the same thing with an Android device, if you want to get the full potential out of it, you're going to have to root the device, which means it gives you administrative access so you can do things like custom ROMs, go to Ice Cream Sandwich even, or anything you like basically. And the sheer speed of this is very, very good once you've got the right type of ROM. And this is the Overcome 2.2 ROM, as you can see right there. It has Samsung's TouchWiz interface there, so it's about all the applications right here. So you've got the Task Manager here, so this allows you to close any apps that you have open or anything like that. You could also open an application while using it, so I'm just opening the browser here, and then we can then go to one of the TouchWiz applications. So say you want to do a calculation, say you're on the bank and you're doing a calculation as such, and then you decide to go back to the desktop there. You can move this around, go up and down while you're doing whatever you're doing. It's pretty awesome, but very system hungry. It does take up a lot of system memory there, but nonetheless, the brilliant thing about Task Manager is that you can just go in and you can end all. You can also clean up memory if you really want to here. So as you can see here, you can hit clean memory. It will then clear the memory and give you a bit more memory space there. So this is a benefit of TouchWiz. The applications that it gives you is pretty much music player, calculator, a pen type application. So if you're, say, taking notes in a web browser or something, you want to write something down, you can. So that's the beauty of that one. Then the rest of the TouchWiz interface here is we have wall clock, which you can see right there, it's just clocks. If we go to the rest of the TouchWiz interface here, we can see the calendar and of course Task Manager. Overall performance with the TouchWiz interface on 3.1 isn't the best, but on 3.2 it does excel, especially if you have a customized ROM. Overcome is a brilliant ROM. 3.2 can't go wrong. Generally about Honeycomb, you want to really compare this to an iPad. You can't really compare this to an iPad 2 running iOS 5 because that is really ahead of Honeycomb in all its ways. It's more comparable to Ice Cream Sandwich, so you can't really compare this device to an iPad 2. Relatively, you can compare it to an iPad 2 if it was running 4.3 iOS. Then you could really compare the two, and they could really be beneficial in the way that you compare both of them. But in this case, I'm not going to be doing that because it's a really unfair challenge to go from iOS 5 to Honeycomb. Even though Honeycomb, Android in itself has its own features that make it really beneficial, so you can actually do more on your web. Web browsing on an Android device is pretty much like a desktop experience. There's very little abilities you can think of here. So if we go to, say, YouTube, actually we'll go to eBay. Now we're running this up. There you go. So it's actually got the full browser here, full browsing experience. So this is not the mobile version. This is actually the full desktoping experience, as you can see right there. Full desktop experience. Here it is in portrait mode. You can see right there. So the full desktop experience. If you want to go into zoom in, you just tap, double tap, very much like an iPad. It's very, very smooth, considering it's running Flash and all that sort of stuff. So we can go right there. There's a Flash animation. It's very, very straightforward. Other things that you can probably be aware of in this app, it's got, you know, the tabs as well. iOS also has this. It's not really a big deal. Okay, so we'll get out of the browser at the moment, and we'll come back to the browser later, but I'll get in more depth in that very soon. On first glance, being the TouchWiz interface with Samsung, because we have to deal with the fact that Samsung has TouchWiz, and we've put it on the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1. So we have to acknowledge there is a screenshot button down the bottom here. So right down the bottom there is a screenshot button. Now this can be, for a first-time user of Android, it can be extremely annoying to hit the multitask menu and then suddenly or accidentally hit the print screen menu. I know when I first used this, a tablet itself, I was hitting the screenshot button constantly and it was annoying me, but nonetheless, after a while you just get used to it. So here's like the multitasking menu here, as you can see. So if I can go to YouTube, there you go, it brings up YouTube right there. On the concept of YouTube, I have to say YouTube's presentation of the application on a Google Android device is very, very good. As you can see right here, it's got a carousel motion of all the subscription services that I'm on currently with YouTube. If I want to go to my channel, I can go straight to it right here. As you can see right there, all my videos show up there. I can get to my favorites, my playlists, my subscriptions. If I go to a video here, I can show you that you can actually choose between HD and standard definition. Now, if you were looking at something like an iPad or something like that, you wouldn't have the choice on 3G to actually have HD or 3G. In that case, HD quality on the app is only available to you on Wi-Fi. So yeah, you got the option here. And the great thing also is that you can actually share it to multiple places as well. As you can see here, online services that you have currently installed, all right there, you can share those videos. So that's a great sharing tool. The application is very much like the desktop version of just using it on the browser, and it does work really, really well. Right, so let's get out of here. So the home button is not a physical button, as you can see. It's actually the screen button over there. So yeah, let's go with that. There's a few things that I don't like. I might as well get to that point as it is. And the worst thing that you could possibly do if you've been using an iPhone and using an iPad for a very long time, and you should be, I'll be comparing this very shortly as to why I'm very frustrated with it, is the fact that when you turn it, 1, 2, so there's about a 2-second delay to actually get the thing to rotate. Now this is on a fast ROM, this is the fastest ROM I could get, and yet I'm still getting this type of lag on auto rotation. And it does incredibly annoy me that there is actually some lag in the rotation. Now, it doesn't always happen, but it does happen. That's the annoying part. Whereas if you look at an iOS device, which I will show later in the video, it's basically an instantaneous thing. There's no delay at all like it is on Android thing. Now, I believe this happens on every single Android device, so it's not the hardware's fault, it's actually the OS fault. So that's one thing, you know, if you can deal with the 2-second delay, that means you've never touched an iOS device, basically. So, yeah. Another thing, camera quality is quite good. It's pretty much the same as the iPad. I can't really say much about anything else. The camera feature is basically the same. Everything else is the same. There's really no choice there. You know, you're going to deal with a camera that's not so good anyway, because it's a camera on a tablet. Much like the iPad, I'd never film video on an iPad. I'd never film video on this. Or take photos. Even though they're relatively good, in good lighting, like the iPad, you got to think about whether you want to do that or not. Now, this actually has a flash on the back here, as you can see there. I wouldn't fancy taking photos with this thing, so I wouldn't actually think about doing that. But nonetheless, it has that type of abilities. Android itself doesn't have the ability to have application folders. Now, the stock ROM that you get with Honeycomb 3.1, which comes with the Samsung Galaxy Tab, you can't actually create application folders on the home screens. That is very annoying if you're coming from an iOS device, because you just want to organize via folders. Now, this particular ROM has it integrated, so there you go, there's a folder. You can see right there, I've made a games folder right there. So I'll give you a closer look at that in another video, but nonetheless, by default it doesn't exist on Honeycomb as it is. Ice cream sandwich, I don't think it exists either, but that's to be said. Okay, the other thing is home screens. With this, when you're used to an iOS device, you pretty much got infinity of home screens. You've pretty much got as many home screens as you want on the device, whereas on this you have 5. Unless you have it customized, and you'd have, 7. Understandably, that's, for some people, that's wrong and all that sort of stuff, but no, don't think about it this way. Some people don't want to stuff up, put all this crap on their desktop, all the icons and stuff. Because essentially these are shortcuts, essentially. All your applications are in what is called the application drawer. So you don't actually have to create those type of shortcuts on your desktop unless you want to organize them in a certain way. Then you do them on the home screen. And you can't organize any of your applications in the application drawer. It's basically as you see it in whatever order it was installed. So as you can see right there, that's very, very fast through the application drawer. Very, very smooth. Love it. So if we go out of there and we go back to the home screen. Widgets. Brilliant thing about Android has always been the fact that it has widgets. In this case, we've got the weather application over here, the weather HD. We've got Twitter over here. We've got another application for the Wi-Fi. There, we've got some applications. We've got email, we've got calendar. We've got a few shortcuts for applications, and we've got emails right here. Brilliantly enough, this is pretty much a little bit of view of what I think so far of the current generation Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1 with Android 3.2. Right, so this ends this bit of the conversation. We'll get back to you on more right after this. When it comes to music, now music services for Android are very good if you got Google Music. Now Google Music is the streaming service that Google has where you upload. It's very similar to iTunes Match. You basically upload all your songs using their managing program, and then you have all your songs uploaded, as you can see right there. So then you can choose to go into albums, you can choose to go into artists. Basically, you can go into your entire music collection that you've uploaded from iTunes, which I have. It will take a while, granted that. It'll also upload all your iTunes playlists, so that's pretty awesome as well. Right, so basically, if you live in the US, you have access to Google Music, and when it is in, the bad point about this is that it's not available to anyone else internationally, so you're pretty much stuck with manually copying it over and using the default application Honeycomb called Music Player. Actually, a better version of that would be in here somewhere. There we go, Music Player. So this is the stock music player you get with Honeycomb. It pretty much is pretty self-explanatory. You copy your music into the music folder, it sees it. It'll see any format except WAV. Don't ask me why, but for some reason it won't support WAV formats. I don't know why. If it is on all Android tablets this way, I don't know. If it's Samsung, then yeah, whatever. Alright, so it's running the TouchWiz interface. So you've got your special dock here, which has what they think are your favorite applications. It has a task manager in here, as you saw before. It closes all your applications. You can end all. You can clear all RAM if you wanted to. So you got that type of control if you like that sort of thing, instead of hitting back. It took me a while to realize that you have to actually hit back to actually get rid of that. Now, if we're looking at the multitasking menu is good, but it does fill up occasionally to the point where you just can't find where you've left off and all that sort of stuff. Now, they fix this issue in Ice Cream Sandwich, where you actually can, when you're going into an application, you can swipe it off. So that's good for Ice Cream Sandwich, and that's for another video as well. But nonetheless, that's really cool. Installing applications, a good thing you can also be happy with is that you don't actually have to go through Marketplace. That's one thing that's good about Android, is that you don't have to go through the App Store, the application store, to actually get your applications. For instance, I've got Pandora here. Obviously, I don't have a US account with Google, and the only way I could get Pandora was to pretty much get it from another third-party site. So it's a free app, so it's not like I'm getting illegal shit or anything like that. It's actually downloadable from any site because it's a free application. So I downloaded it, and there I have Pandora. It works. Movie Studio. Now, this is one of the default applications. Obviously, you can't get this with anything over here internationally, like here in Australia. The version of Honeycomb you won't get the Movie Studio application as such, but you can download it obviously from a third-party site, and you can actually have a look at it. Feature-wise, yeah, it's not exactly the best feature fit thing in comparison to iMovie. It's not exactly full featured as that, but it'll get the job done. Like, if you want to put in a basic thing, you see I've added a movie. You can add in your You can import music in there. You can export the film also if you wanted to. Well, if you couldn't, that would be weird. You can even add, pictures in there if you wanted to add to the effect. Hold down and you can add in effects of some sort. You can add in all your title strips and all that sort of stuff, so it works out pretty well. So I'm just going to add that title in. So we'll go, this is a test title. There you go. So there's my test title. Basically, I can hit play, and it shows the title in there. And you can expand the title in there and all that sort of stuff. So it's usable. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying it's not as full-featured as the iPad iMovie version. But it is certainly well usable. You can use it, and it's very easy to use too, and it's worth it. Google Maps. Google Maps is the most brilliant experience you'll ever have on any type of mobile device. It's pretty much the best application you'll ever use. I mean, you look at Google Maps on the web, that is nothing compared to this. And you can do turn-by-turn type directions here. Okay, I finally found Navigator. So basically this is Navigator. It pretty much is your in-car navigation. So basically it tells me I'm in the middle of nowhere. So basically that was the point I selected. And yeah, that's where I am so far. So basically this is turn by turn. It'll actually give you a voice recognition stuff. It's just like a TomTom. I wish I could give you a better demonstration of it, but I haven't really used it. And as far as I know, this is the Navigator. You don't need any type of application like TomTom or anything like that. It's all integrated in Google Maps, which I think is brilliant. Totally reliant on your GPS. Notifications, I've mentioned those. They're actually really awesome. They come up here, you pretty much go to them. The only bad thing about the notifications is that you cannot customize them at all. All you can do with notifications is turn them off or turn them on. Whereas if you look at the iOS features of an iPad, you can pretty much customize every individual notification right down to the application itself, which you can't actually do on an Android. It just gives you two options: turn it off, turn it on. And for me it's annoying because I don't want to receive every single notification. I want to be able to customize my notifications, but what can you do? But here we go again. So if we look at what we got here, we've got all the options for notification center. Notifications. Whatever we call this, the notification thing that goes up. Alright, so we've got brightness here, that works brilliantly. You've got all your selection here as well, which is very good compared to what iOS offers. I'll leave the best till last, and that is the absolutely awesome browser. Now the browser is freaking awesome. You can literally go to any site you want, desktop site, whatever it is. The only limitations are obviously plugins. You can't actually plug in all your Chrome things you use on Chrome. Obviously this is not Chrome, but it's supposed to appear like Chrome, even though so. But even if you get Firefox, you still can't plug in any of the desktop plugins, which is sometimes annoying because some of those plugins are ActiveX or of course SharePoint. So you can't get to those specific sites like that. So if you want to go to ActiveX sites or you want to go to SharePoint sites, you still can't do that on a mobile device. But this is the closest ever thing to a desktop experience you'll ever get on a mobile device. So definitely check the browser out on this. It is brilliant. There is nothing better. This blows away the tablet experience. This is one thing on the iPad, I mean. This is the one thing that blows every single tablet out of the water except for a Windows tablet, obviously, because it just works. The beauty of going to a website in full quality is brilliant, and it's fast too. Like, that's one thing I'm very surprised about. It is fast, because when I first picked up an Android a few years ago, it was a crap experience. Like, the Zoom was a crap experience, I'll tell you that, when I first used it in the browser. So this, brilliant. I can go to Flash sites or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So here, for argument's sake, I'm just going to go to YouTube. Alright, here we go. There's YouTube, there's my channel. There you go, this is in Flash site. Runs relatively good. It's got fully featured Flash in there. So it's really cool. And there's one thing I love about this, is that you can do this. It may not be appealing to you guys, but this is freaking awesome. Just put your 2 fingers on and use the accelerometer to zoom in and out. How freaking cool is that? Seriously, that is freaking cool. Right, so that is the browser. It's bloody awesome. You got all your settings there. You can put plugins in, but you have to be limited to mobile plugins. Here is the bookmarks. Obviously, there are all the bookmarks. You can also save them in there. That's really not a big issue. There's your history. You can clear all that. Right, for tabs, if you want to add a tab, just add a new tab, blah, blah, blah. If you want to add a off-the-record, off-the-history type of tab, so you can look at those web pages you don't know anyone to look at, you can definitely go into this option of a tab right here, Incognito tab. So this, pretty much, no matter what site you go to, will not come up in the history, basically. It'll be without a trace. So that's pretty awesome as well.